Okay, this video is about flipping sprites. What that means is that I'm only using one image. I'm using the object right image, which you see on the screen right now, for the player object, and he's able to move left by using some kind of code that will allow him to switch from right player to left player. So I only have one image for the player, which is the object right, and then I'm using code from GameMaker to make him switch to going left, moving left. So you're able to use less images and save space on your game. And another thing I'm talking about is the boss and how he's moving back and forth like that, but mainly talking about when you get hit by him, it's going to show an indicator from the player object that he's about to die. So not only he's losing power at the top, it's going to show him blinking before the game ends. See? Bam. It's kind of like Mario, where he jumps up in the air and falls. Alright, so let me talk about the first thing, which is the flip sprite. So in here there's only one object, which is sprite right. Make sure you center the character too. Just press the center button, and GameMaker will center the image of the character, because if you don't center it, if you don't center the origin, then when he moves from right to left, then it's going to show a jump. It's not going to be positioned correctly when you move from right to left. You'll see a jump from right to left. So you want to make sure it's centered that way. When he moves right from left, it looks it doesn't show a jump in the animation. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is in the create event. Got a coded sheet from the code tab, and then this is what it's talking about. You type in randomize image underscore speed equals 0 and facing equals 1. So what this means is that the image is going to be at 0, which is what that is, image 0. Well, it's talking about he's not going to be moving. The speed, image speed, is going to be at 0, so that means he's not moving at all. And then the facing represents what direction he's going. So if it's 1, he's going right. If it's -1, then he's going left. That's just how GameMaker has it set up. So if I decide to put in a -1 instead of a 1, then when I play this, he should be going in the left direction. Yeah, see how he's going in the left direction? The facing changed his direction when I put in the -1. So I would just keep it at 1, so he's going in the right direction. That's the first step. The second step is to go create an event, grab a step event, then add some code, and you're going to have to put in this: if keyboard underscore checks pressed V key, facing equals 1. So if he's going right, the facing is going to be 1. If keyboard check pressed V key left, the facing is going to be equal to -1. So he's going -1 represents he's going left, 1 represents he's going right. And then I also have it set up for if you click on the mouse, if you press the button on the right, let's see, hold on. Well, the buttons are kind of set up differently on the mouse. So you have there's 3 buttons on the mouse. You have a left button, a middle button, and then you have a left button. So I think the way I have this set up with MB right that represents mouse. The left button represents him going in the right direction. You just hold down the left button and he's moving right, and then when you hold down the right button on the mouse, he's going left. You could switch that around, of course. Yeah, so basically this button right here represents him going, hold down that button, which is the left button, he's going right. You hold down the right button on the mouse and he's going left. Then the middle button, he's going to jump. Alright, but the jump button's not in there because it doesn't need the facing in this situation, and I'll show you in a minute. So we're just talking about the right and left facing. So 1 represents right, -1 represents left. The same thing applies for the key, the mouse event. If he moves right, he's going 1. If he moves left, it's -1. So the only thing different here I added was mouse check button pressed, and then you have the keyboard pressed. And I have it set to self, which is the character itself here, object right. And then you have to do, okay, then for the mouse event you have to do global. So go to add event, go to mouse, and go down to the very bottom here. The very bottom here, and choose a global mouse, and you want to click on left press and right press, and you have the middle press, which is the jump. I'll talk about that in a minute. For some reason, any of these other buttons here for the mouse event don't seem to work for when you're, I don't know, it doesn't seem to work for me. None of these options here. The only thing that seems to work is the global mouse. Actually, I think you would use the left pressed if you're if you're doing it for the Android, and I can talk about that in the next video. But you would use left press for your images for right and left buttons for Android, and that would work. But I'll talk about that later on my next video, because there's a different kind of code you have to use for the Android buttons. So left press, then you go to the move tab, and you're going to have it move at 25 speed and make it relative. So like I said, the step event, this is only controlling him from moving right to left. It doesn't control him from moving. You know what I'm saying? He's jumping from right to left in a standstill position, and then when you want him to move, you have to use the global left pressed, the global right press, to make him move in that direction. So you're making him move 25 speed left, making him move 25 speed right, and then the middle press is the code for the jumping, which I've already talked about in the past. But this code right here makes him jump straight up, and then if you're moving right or moving left and you jump, then he's going to jump in like a half circle fashion. Or if he's just standing still and you press and jump, he'll jump straight up. And then you have a global left release and a global right release, which makes him not move at all. Speed 0, relative, middle, checked. And then the same thing applies for the keyboard. This will make him move at 25 speed left, relative. And then the right, you have him move right, 25 speed, relative. And you have a release and a right, which makes him stop at speed 0. Then in the draw event, this is the last thing I'm talking about with you're switching from right to left sprint. you're gonna you have to say draw underscore sprint underscore ext sprint underscore index comma and image underscore index xy facing 1 comma 0 comma c white comma 1. So you have to have this information in here for him to switch from right to left. This will allow, if you don't have this code in here, it's not going to work correctly. Let me see what happens. It's not going to make him switch from right to left. Yeah, he don't even show up here. See, he's not even on screen. So you got to make sure you add that draw event in there. Otherwise, he's not going to be there on the screen. So make sure it's not graded out. So this is basically checking which direction this is basically going to draw him on screen. This is that's happening here. And the facing's telling the computer, okay, he's going to be looking in the right direction. Well, it doesn't say he's looking in the right direction. This is basically stating that it's going to be set up for him to look right or left, depending on which direction you start out at the beginning with, either 1 or -1. But this draw event needs to be in there for him to show up on screen. Otherwise, the code's not going to. Otherwise, it's not going to be on the screen at all. So this is just setting it up for the code to work for facing, and that's why facing's in here. So this will apply for the right and left direction, depending on which way you want to start out at the beginning, with 1 going right and -1 going left. Alright, and then when you hit the boss, then he's going to be jump to the start position wherever he started at the beginning of the game. And then I've already talked about this code before in my other video, but what's new about it is this this bottom line of strand code is saying you deactivate the object right, which is the character when you start out the game, and then it's going to activate the object dead. Alright, so basically what that means is that there is an object dead on screen here. So there's an object dead right here on screen. This is deactivated when you first start the game, but it activates when you die. So it deactivates him when he dies, and activates the dead guy. So at the beginning, this is deactivated. The dead guy, he's active. When he loses all of his health, he's deactivated and he's activated. And since the boss is moving, I have to add a create and an action code that's going to state that basically it states that you want the object dead to follow the bad guy. Alright, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So right now I deactivated to deactivate the object dead because I want to show you what I'm talking about. So this is what's happening behind the scenes here. And it's not showing. Deactivate. Oh, he died. I see what happened. Okay. I have to take off this code right here. There's gravity on here. Gravity set it to -50 relative, so he's going to jump up and have an alarm set to 10 speeds. So once he gets hit, once he dies, alarm set for 10 milliseconds, and the gravity he's going to jump up at -50, and it's set to relative. Then after 10 milliseconds, the alarm's going to cut back on again, and then the gravity is going to be set to 50, so he's going to, and it's set to relative. He's going to fall straight down. So -50 goes up, 50 goes down, and so let me take off this and show you what I'm talking about here. Alright, so now I took off the gravity so you can see what's going on here and behind the scenes. Okay, so the big guy, he's on there the whole time in the game, but he's deactivated when you first start the game. So what's happening is the big guy is following the boss, so it doesn't matter where you're at when you die, he's going to be in that spot, so he doesn't jump, and it's going to show the big guy. And then all of a sudden, after I think 50 milliseconds or 40 milliseconds, then the game's going to end. So he's there the whole time, but he's deactivated when you first start the game. Then when you lose all your health, then he's deactivated, and then the big guy's activated, and then it shows him jumping up with gravity and then going down with gravity, and then the game ends. So, and you have to have the big guy follow the bad guy boss, because otherwise, if you don't do that, then you'll see a jump in the animation depending on where the boss is at when you die. So I have this setup, which is talked about the target. It targets object boss 1. My speed, length, place is all 0, so it's telling the computer to make the big guy follow the bad guy at all times. Then you have a step event that's going to reassure that using the X and Y origin of the bad guy, alright, and the speed of which he's traveling. And the bad guy, there's the origin set to 0, 0 in there, 0, 0 on that, so you gotta make sure that the object dig guy is set to the same origin, which is 0, 0. Otherwise, if you change the origin on this dig guy, then he's going to be positioned in the wrong direction, of course. So you gotta make sure that both origins are set the same for the bad guy and the dig guy. Alright, so, and I didn't put the gravity back in there, but right now he's going to be deactivated, the dig guy, for right now, because that's what you want in the game. And so when he gets hit, he loses health, and then he dies, see? But see, you don't want him to travel with the character when it shows dig guy. You want him to jump up and then fall down using the gravity. But I took the gravity out. And then if he falls in the pit, then it doesn't show him, doesn't show the dig guy, because you're falling in the pit. It's only set up for the boss. See, he just dies completely. So there's 3 things I talked about here. Hopefully it wasn't that confusing. I will give you the GMX file for this so you can play around with it. But my main goal here was to talk about this flipping sprints. So like I said, you can have just one image, which is object right. You don't have to make a new image for object left. You can stick with just one object image here, which is object right, and you can use the Game Maker code to make him go in the other direction using the facing techniques here, using 1 and -1 to make this happen. You got to make sure it's randomized too. So, like I said, facing set up for 1, so he's going in the right direction when you first start the game. If you change that to -1, then when you first start the game, you're in the left direction. And you could potentially have animation in here too if you wanted to. You could have him blink or whatever, and it won't affect the facing. You know, you could just add some animation there. And then when you play the game, it's not showing the animation. Well, I guess that's one thing it's not letting you do, is do the animation of it. Might have to watch some other video and then give you information in the description to talk about how the animation, you can add animation there, because there's animation there but it's not showing up. I think it has something to do with image 1. Oh, you know what it is, I think? You would have to change this image speed to probably 1 or something to make the animation happen. I think that's why it's not working. Yeah, so you have to change the image speed to 1 to make the animation happen, because the way I had it set up originally was just at 0, and 0 means that it's going to be on image 0 only, and it's not going to show any animation. But there's a little fluttering effect here happening, and it's happening on the left and right side. Yeah, so if you want animation to happen, make sure that in the create event you add an image speed of 1, and like I said, you could make extra images to make it go slower. See, it's going slower now, and it's going in both directions. So like I said, if you want animation to happen, be sure that you change the image speed on the object right to 1. If you have it at 0, it's not going to animate. And that will conclude the video. Thanks for watching.